Welcome to RVing in New England, the nation's only forum that puts you on stage with some of the biggest names in the RV industry. And now your hosts, John DePietro and Bob Zagami.
Okay. Oh, there you are. There I am. There you are. Wednesday night, RVing in New England.
Yeah, but it might not be Wednesday night when they watch this.
Well, that's true, but we are broadcasting live, and it is Wednesday, so it's okay for me to say it's Wednesday night, and it's RVing in New England.
And Bob, it's obviously that I'm at Myrtle Beach. Where are you?
Well, I'm pretending that I'm at Margaritaville in Auburn. I think it's Auburndale, Florida. It's one of the Margaritaville resorts, and our guests tonight did stay there. They're going to tell us all about it. So I thought, in their honor, I mean, after all, it is Marc and Julie Bennett, or is it Julie and Marc Bennett?
It's Marc with a C.
No Julie?
Yeah, but Julie's.
Do we say Marc and Julie Bennett, or do we say Julie and Marc Bennett?
How about the Bennetts?
The Bennetts.
Yeah.
That's clever.
How about before we do anything else, we tell people who our sponsor is for this show.
You know,
And we are so happy to say that our sponsor is Seacoast Rv on Route 1 in Saco, Maine. Now, they've got park models. They've got two different brands of park models. They've got crop. They've got elevation coming soon. They've got Winnebago motorized, some unbelievable. I think you see either the Solus or Travato that's right there.
Solus, yeah.
Yep, and Solus. And you know what? They're just nice people up there. Kenny and Amanda are cool. And their slogan, listen to this slogan, folks. Let me use my fake radio voice. Creating family fun on Route 1. Stop in and see Seacoast RVs. And if you don't buy one there, but you've already had one, they've got propane, they've got a parts department and a store, and they've also got a service department. So
great accessories. And they are selling up a storm, as you say, the number one park model dealer in the country for about 8 or 10 years running for Krupp. And I saw an article on park models this week that said almost every park model manufacturer has a 1-year backlog. And I know that they are having a tough time getting the amount of park models that they normally sell every year. So get up there and
this is the time of year where over on the left side, they have usually 15 models lined up.
Yep, they do. So let's.
Yep. Hey, we got a good group of people here, but you want to bring out our guests, or you want to talk about our studio guests?
Let's bring up our guests.
Okay.
There they are.
There they are.
There they are.
Ladies and
John and Bob. Is it Bob and John or John and Bob?
Well, no, you
That's who you asked.
Because you got Marc and Julie Bennett of RVlove.com.
You just call us Molly.
Which I put on the scroller down below. You know, I was checking back in the records. It's been almost a year since we had you on the last time. And last time we talked about RV Hacks, your second book.
They're books.
And the first time that we had you on, we talked about living the RV life. Your first bestseller. Now you got two bestsellers all in the back.
There they are.
Yeah, absolutely. You're like those big people on national TV when they do their little interviews. They always got their book in the pictures of the family and the books in the background. But I think you have to take 3 or 4 of them and stack them up on each other sideways, so you get the titles on the side. I like it. I like it when the people do that.
We could just do this and just.
You could do that. Yeah,
I'm looking for my book here. I don't see it.
So I wanted to have you guys back on. Number one, you're always fun, and with 4 of us, it's tough getting in a word because all 4 of us like to talk a lot.
And the second reason is the other 3 people that we asked said no.
Well, it's always fun to catch up with you guys. It's just like hanging out.
So where are you now? You're in Colorado.
Can't you tell by the scenery?
Yeah, currently in the home office in Colorado, and
we should put a mountain scenery up behind like these guys have done.
We didn't do the virtual background.
No.
We just used the regular.
So the cool thing now is we, outside of you guys being on our show so often, we share 6 wheels together now.
Yes.
We do, fellow Navion owners.
Yep.
This is not even public news. So this is an exclusive scoop through the RVing New England show tonight.
You know, if we had a drum roll, we would, if we knew how to use it, we would play it right now.
Yeah.
That you guys have moved into the Class C family of motorhomes.
Yeah, we did the Class A coaches for our 6 years of full timing, and then we had a little
Rented.
Yeah,
like, we've rented a B+ or Class C. Everyone, has different opinions on that. A couple of Class Cs. So we've had gas and diesel in both the smaller and the bigger rigs. And this actually is, funnily enough, when we rented, and Bob, you remember this, when we flew to Florida pre-pandemic. This is about 6 weeks before the lockdown. We saw you. We met you for the first time in person at the Tampa show when we went for dinner.
Was it a letdown?
No, it was fantastic. What are you talking about? Bob's one of our very favorite people.
Well, I meant, was it a letdown that I wasn't there with him?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I mean, it was almost a
what I meant.
perfect dinner. If you were there, that would have been the cherry on the cake. But we were there.
We took the big diesel pusher, right?
Yep.
Back to Connecticut.
No, we had but you know what? I'm just realizing this is all very confusing for people because we had our 40-foot country coach, and then we were shopping for a smaller rig in early 2020 before COVID. We were thinking about putting that big rig on an annual site, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Before COVID even hit. And we were looking at getting a little one to be more nimble and run around. That's why we were test driving. And then COVID hit. And then, like so many people, plans just all got upended. We accidentally bought a house. And then we downsized from the country coach to the casita because we could tow with the Jeep. But that's now too small because we've got the dog and we still work.
Yeah.
But in between, we relocated a 45-foot diesel pusher for a friend to Connecticut, to Bob's point. So, yeah, just tune in for weekly updates on the change.
Whatever rig we're going to be in. But
Well, Julie, you look very corporate tonight, and Marc is, in his casual T-shirt.
It's actually just a little casual sweater.
Oh, it looks very corporate.
I gave up the corporate world a long time ago.
You know what? We love having you on the show because you guys are fun, and there's no BS with you guys. You tell it like it is. And, the thing is this, every different category of RV, whether it's an A, a B, a C, a towable, or in Bob's case, a park model, has its benefits. And I think one of the things that you'll definitely find as you drive around in your Navion a little bit more is the flexibility that you have that you didn't have with the Class A, because if you miss an intersection or if you need to back up at a gas station, you can do that with the Class C and sometimes even pull a U-turn on the same road without even putting the wheels into the dirt on the side.
Yeah, and actually, we loved that on our recent trip. We had a big, long trip this winter, and I was loving that nimbleness and the fuel economy.
Right.
But I did love
Let's talk about that, because that's kind of the setting for this show, because you had a great opportunity to go from Colorado to Key West. You rented a Class C from your friend.
Yep.
And then you wound up buying it at the end. So tell us the journey. Tell us what prompted the journey and some of your fun things and maybe some of the not so fun things along the way.
Yeah, tell us some of the stuff you shouldn't be telling us in public.
That's what I'm going to do. We just came back from the balloon fiesta in New Mexico, and we were gone for 2 weeks, and it was the longest trip we've taken. Our pup Sonny, who's quietly chewing a snack back there, but and we still work. I mean, we still have to work from the RV, and sometimes we'll go out and have little short trips. But that casita, we had that little, for anyone that isn't familiar, we towed a little casita behind our Jeep, and loved it. Fit in the carport. It was super. That was very nimble too.
Very nimble and off-roady because they're pulling with the Jeep, and so you can have a lot of fun with that. You can even take it through drive-throughs because it wasn't very tall.
We took it through a McDonald's drive-through.
That was probably fun. Yeah,
that was fun. But I think what Julie is saying is that we took it down to the balloon fiesta, and trying to work and trying to have the dog and be 2 weeks in that little camper was just was too much for us. So we realized if we're going to go on a big trip that winter, it can't be in that casita. And so then we started trying to think about ways.
What really happened is I was just, because the Tampa show was coming up and we were originally planning on going to Florida. We were going to go to the Southwest. And then we were getting so many invitations to come to Florida. And we said, oh, you know what? Let me see if I can get into Sunshine Key RV Resort, because I've been trying for years. I've never been able to get a reservation, and I scored a week. And I was like, ooh.
Julie, you got to make it a little bit more enticing, because some of these people may not know anything about Key West, and they may not know anything about Sunset Keys.
Well, everything in the Keys is expensive, and if you go, I think so many RVers or anyone, if you're not an RV, we all want to go to Key West, right? It's like being on an island vacation. But, being able to take your RV down there is pretty awesome. And we've since, even before we hit the road, actually, a couple of months before, we bought a 1,000 Trails camping membership. And anyone that knows us and our content knows we've talked about that and written about that a lot, because honestly, I don't think we could have afforded a full-time RV without that. And it's not for everybody. It's not for everyone. But I think if, you're RVing on a budget and that's important to you, then it's, especially now with gas prices, I mean, campgrounds are going up and up and fuel's going up. And, we're seeing some people maybe changing their camping plans or selling their RV. And we can get to that a little bit later, because we did a survey.
Oh, I don't like to hear that.
Yeah, but, I'm more about being creative, because I always want to do what I want to do. And I'm like, well, I don't like getting no for an answer, do I, husband? So it's like,
they don't.
How can I make it happen? It's just,
I have similar spouses. We don't.
Yeah. That doesn't mean I can't do it. Let me get creative, figure out how I can do it. And if I wasn't like that, I wouldn't be living here in America and married to you and RVing. So it's not that bad. But anyway,
we don't. What question are you answering, Julie? Julie, what question are you answering?
The question I'm answering is getting into Sunshine Key. So I got a week. And then I kept calling, because people say you can't ever get into the Keys. And it's one thing I want to encourage everybody. There's never always and a never, because that's black and white. It's always, you can. Sometimes you have to be persistent or lucky or whatever, but you can. Generalizing doesn't help. But I managed to get a week, and then I kept calling. And every time they'd open up a couple of days here and there. We got 2 weeks in the Florida Keys in the second half of December.
The only problem is you had to move to a new campsite every night, right?
No, we only had to move once, I think.
But yeah, then the campground, this campground has nightly fees well into the hundreds.
And it was like 200 mid 200s a night.
And so we're able to stay there for 20 a night. And so we're like, okay, now it's starting having some appeal to get down.
Oh, this was Thousand Trails.
I'm sorry, John.
It was at Thousand Trails Park.
Yeah,
it's actually an Encore property, which is owned by 1,000 Trails. It's an optional add-on, but it's not easy to get in there. We've tried for years, and we finally got in. So I said, well, I guess we're going to Florida. So then the conversation is, well, if we're going to Florida and we're towing the casita behind the Jeep, and we need enough stuff for 3 months for all of us, and we're going to be pushing the weight carrying capacity, and I'm going to be miserable in that small space for 3 months, because you can't just come home quickly like you can from Albuquerque. So then the conversation became, well, maybe we should start thinking about another RV, and maybe we should just rent one from our friend who's got it in storage in Denver. And that's what happened. It was a long answer to your questions, John. Okay. But you're getting the exclusive right here.
Okay. And that's about all the time we have tonight, folks. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. Hey, before you do it, now Sunset Keys was wiped out in the hurricane, so they had a complete rebuild, right?
Yeah. In 2017, Hurricane Irma flattened it, because Big Pine Key, which is where it's located, actually copped the brunt of Hurricane Irma. So I think they were only closed for one winter. And then I think they were reopened probably a couple of years now. But we've been back there to visit friends, but never to stay. But it's wonderful. It's really, we had a great time. And, when you're in the Keys, it's just hard not to feel like you're on vacation. So we didn't do much work there.
And you know what? We have a great group of guests.
You were reading my mind. I'm saying, man, we haven't even looked at it yet.
Go back to Monica.
Monica's
hello,
there.
everyone.
Dante's on. Dante's in a good mood tonight. He got delivery information on his motorhome, so hopefully he'll be on the road.
Tell everyone to bring their questions. We want to
see. Monica says.
Oh, why am I not seeing the questions? Okay.
Actually, John figured that out right before the show, Monica, and we finally figured out how to do it. Similar to Zoom, it's quite simple.
New Hampshire.
Gary from Hampshire.
Tell us where you're all from, everyone. We got a few there.
Jim Convoy from.
Hello, Frank.
RV roof. Now look at what you're buying that Navion.
Yeah.
You have to have a seal test done to make sure there's no leaks. And then if you need a roof, you got to come to New England so Jim Convoy can put a Flex Armor roof on it and guaranteed lifetime warranty. He's so busy. He's so busy down there. He's going to have to think about expanding the business. Yeah. Jim Roy from Silver Moose Restorations.
Yeah, only has a 2.5-year wait before he can work on your unit.
Monica's up in New Hampshire. Estelle's up in New Hampshire.
Who knows? By then we might be in something else.
And Haas is down in Texas. I think he's still down in Texas. Are you back in New England yet? Or are you coming back to New England this year, Don? Haas headed to Bailey's in May, Mother's Day weekend. Can't wait.
That's a great place.
Ken's place opened 2 weeks ago, Estelle. But I noticed the menu this week. The Fisherman's Platter is up to $38.95 up at Ken's place. And the Dairy Corner. The Dairy Corner is open also.
Okay.
Frank Cates, good evening. Julie and Mark and Bob and John. James says hello, Estelle. I think he
wait. Time out. Jim Convoy.
What?
You don't have side conversations in our show. You talk or you don't talk.
You're on one of the shows.
You don't go directly to another guest.
And bought your he's a customer. I'm from Maine and I bought your RV hack book last time you were on. Just one, Jim. you should buy 10. You're in the middle of the woods in Maine. You can buy them at a discount and double the price up there. You got a captive audience.
Diane and Richard.
Diane Blackwell.
Sean and Richard, we know we've actually met them for breakfast in Massachusetts back in 2019.
Where are they from in Massachusetts, Blackwells?
Sean, where are you from?
Where did you meet them, Monica? I mean,
we've met Sean and Richard. They were actually among the first people to enroll in our RV Success School when we launched that back in May of 2017, nearly 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so this is how diligent this couple is. There's so many people who do those courses, been planning years out, and now they're about ready to buy their RV and launch. And that's
5 years of planning.
5 years of planning.
Launch, yeah.
Great.
So it's really exciting to see where they're at. And, we saw them at the Tampa show. We ran into them at the Tampa show too, and just to hear what they'd been shopping and just really well positioned to make a great decision.
Monica has been following you for years.
Hello, Monica.
We love Walter Swenson. He's back in Massachusetts. He's about ready to get his new Flex Armor roof from Jim Convoy, and his fifth wheel is going into the shop real soon.
Yeah. Then he's heading out across country.
Okay, so Sean is in Hingham, Mass, down south.
Hingham.
Now Convoy's got a side conversation going with Walter. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Well, tell Convoy is going to have to get a slap on the wrist.
Then Jim says the other way around. So we'll
be back sometime.
We have to ban these side conversations. God bless it. So look at let's get back to business. From Colorado to Key West.
Yep.
What was the best experience? What was the worst experience on your trip?
Honestly, will you go? I've talked enough for now.
No,
you go. No, John always gives me a hard time about talking too much. So actually, I'm surprised he hasn't yet.
To the point with John, it was really fun for me to have the totally different experience of a long-term trip in a short rig, to be able to have all the maneuverability. That was really enjoyable for me to have that different style. We had some great places that we stayed. Julia found a lot of really great places for us, and we didn't book a lot of in advance, so that was kind of fun.
Sunshine Key was booked 2 months in advance, and we booked a week at Fort Myers or the month before. But I think being a smaller rig makes that easier too, because some places, we call and say, well, how big are you?
Considered Harvest Hosts at all?
Oh yeah, we stayed at Harvest Hosts.
We stayed at multiple Harvest Hosts on the way down, which was great. Especially because what was amazing is because this RV, it just been sitting in storage and it hadn't been used for a couple months, and so the batteries were dead. And we actually found Harvest Hosts that we could plug in at, which was amazing. So that was really great. Especially because
they charge like $20 or something, which is totally worth it.
Yeah.
The house batteries were completely dead,
and the generator died.
Yeah.
So that answers the question about what was the worst thing, is all the stuff he had to fix on it.
Right. Because, well, the thing is, even though you're not newbies, when you transition from one style to another, class A, B, C, et cetera, there's a learning curve. And I think Marc has really pointed out the ease of driving. Now you say, yeah, but in the big class A, I could fall asleep on a big bed in the back. While one of the others of you drove. You bounce around a little bit more in the class C, but that capability to pull into a restaurant, to pull into a Sheetz or a Wawa and get those pretzels. I don't know. Let me ask our friends here, because let me ask our audience members if they've ever been to a Wawa gas station up in the Northeast, and primarily in Pennsylvania, and now they're down in Florida. If they've been to Wawa,
there's a couple down here.
I've been to quite a few Wawas, but I didn't know of this legendary pretzel you speak of, John.
Oh, it's right at the register. Right at the register when you're checking out, they have them right there. And I think they're like $1.69, and they're gigantic, and they're the big soft pretzels.
We did stop at a Buc-ee's in
you
South
did?
Carolina.
What Buc-ee's did you stop at?
Probably outside Jacksonville. There's one south of Jacksonville.
Well, no, this one was.
It was just after we left that Bass. Wasn't it at Cabela's we stayed?
Yeah.
Bass Cabela's.
But it wasn't. But here was what a surprising purchase. Julie goes in. She says, "I want to go inside this Buc-ee's and see what it's like inside." Then she get a few text messages. The next thing I know, she's coming out with a shopping trolley. She comes out with all kinds of fresh cut.
My favorite wine was on sale. Best price I've ever seen it.
Yeah, and the wine was that we normally have to pay quite a premium, and was on this amazing sale. So she comes out with this huge, like, honey, we have a weight limit on this RV, so.
Yeah, I know, we didn't on the other one. Did you get the brisket sandwich? The barbecue brisket sandwich?
No, we had a breakfast burrito.
Yeah.
We had a breakfast burrito.
Before you leave the Keys, what was your favorite restaurant, and did you go to the Key Lime Pie Shop?
The Square Grouper.
Yeah, favorite restaurant on the Keys, Square Grouper. Blue Heaven's great too.
We went to there's two Square Groupers. We went to the one in Isla Morada, which is right on a marina, so you can see them moving the boats around on forklifts. That was really cool.
Well,
You know what else Isla Morada is famous for?
Fishing, isn't it?
Yes, but do you know who fished there every winter?
No.
Ted Williams from the Boston Red Sox.
Well, there you
go. He'd go up to Canada and up to the falls, and then he had a place down in Isla Morada where he would spend winters and fish. He's also, this is a piece of trivia for you, he's the only athlete in 2 different Hall of Fames.
Wow.
Ooh, that's impressive.
He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he's in the Fly Fishing Hall of Fame.
Wow, that's impressive.
Wasn't that worth the trip to RVing in New England tonight?
Aren't you two in the Hall of Fame up in Elkhart?
We aren't to yet, but but actually I am eligible this year because this is my 25th year. Actually, I'm going into my 26th year because you can't get into the RV Hall of Fame.
25 years.
25 years. So I am now eligible. So I can say I'm eligible.
How do we vote for you, Bob?
Huh?
How do we vote for you?
You just got to put a nomination in and say I want Bob Zagami to be in the Hall of Fame. Don't hold your hand on it, but thank you.
I'm much too young, Julie.
What's that?
I'm much too young.
Yes.
Hey, Marc, you said Blue Heaven. Is that the place in Key West?
Yeah, it's really catching off guard because you walk in and it's more hidden. It's not as touristy, which was great because it's more
all the chickens.
Yeah, all the chickens walk out because it's kind
live
of
entertainment.
You walk in, but you're kind of outside. You actually feel more outside when you're in the restaurant.
The little patio there, yeah.
That's a cool place. We really like that. There's also a really fun dessert place in the Keys as well.
It's called Better Than Sex.
What?
That's what it's called. Better Than Sex.
Well, I hear that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The
original is in Key West, and first time we were in the Keys, we heard about it, and we were biking back to our campsite. And we're like, oh, we'll drop in and we'll get a key lime pie to share, and then we'll be on our way. We got there and we're like, oh, it's not that kind of place. It was very obviously caters to couples, and it's very romantic, little corners. Tables everywhere, or little tables everywhere. They can't all be corner tables, otherwise you'd only have 4, right? But all this amazing art and chandeliers, and so we got in, and then you see the menu, which is on an iPad, and they're incredible. And then I'm like, well, I'm not sharing anything. I'm getting my own dessert. And so 2 desserts and then 2 rimmed drinks later because they like dip the wine and the beer glasses in chocolate. So the rim is all like a chocolate rim. It's pretty amazing. So $70 later, I think, just for dessert and a wine and beer and coffee. And it's a splurge, but really worth it.
But fun. Yeah.
It is worth it. Yeah.
Where are your plans for this summer?
This summer? Well, we've got a couple. Some we can't reveal yet. But we are going to do another trip a little further north, and we've got a lot of local trips planned here in Colorado. I think, like a lot of people, there's a real incentive to do some local and regional travel at the moment because of the gas situation. We just did 8,500 miles in 3 months.
Yeah, our trip was 8,500 miles, which,
14 states.
Some people it would be a discouragement, but what's interesting, that 8,500 miles was 3.5 months. That's about what we used to do every year, a full calendar year in our full timing life. And I think that's what's something interesting for folks that are not full time or don't have experience with that, is they think that full-time RVers must drive 50,000 miles a year driving all around the country. But no, you don't go back. You
don't. You stop and smell the roses and enjoy this great country.
So we put a full year's worth of RV miles on in just 3.5 months.
Yeah, we used to average 9,000 to 10,000 in the coach and about 11,000 in the tow vehicle. So between both vehicles, that's about 20,000 a year. But of course, in the Class C, because we opted not to have a tow vehicle, we actually just ride electric bikes. And but like you said, John, you can take it anywhere. We took it to the supermarket, took the dog to the vet, took it to restaurants, and it's there was nowhere, I think, where we wanted to park where we couldn't. And even in Key West, where parking is a premium, you just go a couple of miles out of town down near the airport on A1A, and there's free parking right by the water. And then we just left the RV, no time limit. But you can't stay overnight. I think you can't stay between 11 and 6 or something. But
Julie,
and rode our bikes into town.
You better get the nomination in, because that's the other one. Walter says he's going to write me in on the ballot, so you better get the nomination in.
Bob for president, yes.
Yeah, there you go. But he also had a serious comment. He said he found several grocery store gas stations that had fuel much cheaper than most of the other regular gas stations.
And what's really great about some of these grocery store gas stations is that if they're tied to a grocery store that you shop at regularly, you may be able to accumulate points and then get it even cheaper. In fact, we just played that recently when we were in Boulder, and you fill out the survey, you get 10 cents off. You fill out this, you get 10 cents. You get this purchase, you get another 10 cents. We had 40 cents off just in the matter.
But you can get up to $1.
You can get up to $1 off if you play your cards right. So that's a huge tip for saving fuels, is get into those discount programs.
And I think we all know about that, but I don't know about everyone else. I mean, I kind of get a bit slack on being diligent about it, but now because of the gas prices, I'm being more diligent about it.
Yeah, you pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan's joining us from his truck tonight.
Ryan and Amy.
Ryan is our independent mobile rep up here, who's his business has skyrocketed since he joined NRVDA. He has networked very well with our members. He's looking for another technician right now to add to it. And nothing like having an independent mobile trip come to your house and park in your driveway and
that's awesome.
Fix your rig, right, John?
He did it for us.
All right, we got Don says there's a Wawa in Texas. But
they're primarily a Northeast, but they're branching out. It's like Cumberland Farms is down in Florida now too.
Cajun, is there a Cajun type Wawa?
Full service restaurant. Wow.
I don't know that.
Full service. Is that two thoughts, Don, or is that all one thought? That you got a Wawa in Texas that's got a Cajun flavor to it, and they have a full service restaurant, because most Wawas don't have full service restaurants.
Yeah, I think he might be considering there's another company with the same name. So Jim Roy,
in Florida.
Ryan sent someone our way today with an Airstream renovation. Thanks, Ryan.
Nice.
Okay. Fantastic.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Several gas stations. So let's go back to that question about gas prices. Is there anything that you're doing in particular to still enjoy life, but not have to travel as far?
It really didn't impact our travels of the trip we just did. In fact, we did more miles and went further than we planned.
Yeah, we stopped by California on the way
On the way
back
home.
from Florida, which
because it's
was
on the
kinda
way.
right?
Yeah. Now you guys are pretty detailed. Did you calculate your cost per gallon for the 8,500 or your miles per gallon for the 8,500 miles along your trip?
Yeah, we averaged 14 and a half, which I thought was pretty good.
That's right.
So,
I do 15.
yeah.
Yeah. And we weren't towing, and part of that is you don't go over 65, and
Right.
because it's just
Yeah, if you might manage your speeds. But yeah, to Julie's point earlier, that I think a lot of people this year might just travel a little bit slower pace than they did in the past. We did do a survey, and we had a couple people say they were actually going to sell their RVs because of the prices. But I feel a lot of those folks might have already been planning on selling, and they're just using it as
And this just pushed them over the edge, right?
Yeah, that's what pushed them over the edge. But I think most people we saw in our survey were going to continue to be unchanged, or would just make alterations to their changes to make it more viable.
Or find other ways to save. So
Right.
I think that's part of it. So
I mean, people, they save up 48 weeks to get 2 weeks off, to get 4 weeks off.
Yeah.
And you know what? If they got to spend $1 more on
You just
gas,
do
a
it.
gallon, they're going to do it. You know what?
Well,
Maybe
there
they won't
are
go
so
to
many
the-
other ways, John, that you can just find. If you really want something, just go out for dinner a little bit less.
You'll figure out how to do it. Let's do a quick commercial. Take a deep breath. Go ahead, John.
Okay, everybody. We want to thank you so much, Seacoast RVs, for sponsoring our show. And they have crop models. They have elevation models. They have Winnebago units, including the Solus. I don't know if they have a Travato yet, but take a look at those 2 units. And you know what? They've probably got a variety of used units for sale there on Route 1. So if you're anywhere in the Old Orchard Beach, Maine area, Saco is the next town over. And also, if you're heading to northern Maine and want to get off for a bit, get off at the I-95 Old Orchard Beach exit, and then go a mile and then go Route 1 north. And in less than a mile, you'll find Seacoast RVs. And keep in mind, folks, you need, when you put propane in your tank, you don't want to stop at the hardware store for propane. You want to find somebody who knows how to install it properly and tell you how to turn off the appliances when you're installing propane or filling up on propane. So that's our story. Seacoast RVs, Route 1.
Great fun on the run. I just noticed, I went back up and looked at Estelle's comment. She's going up to Bailey's. So Estelle, while you're up at Bailey's, I want you to go over to Seacoast RV right on Route 1. It's only 10 minutes from Bailey's. Introduce yourself to Amanda and Kenny and Brittany. Amanda and Kenny are the owners. Brittany's on the sales side there, and Kendra is in service. And if you need any repairs or anything, or you need parts, they got the best parts store in Maine. Parts and accessories. Go down there, introduce yourself, and just say, "Look, I'm a fan of John and Bob," and they'll take care of you.
In that order, and they'll take care of you.
I heard your commercials on John and Bob. Yeah.
Hey, look we got some interesting. When we call out our guests for making a mistake, they admit it. And Bob, can you put Hawes' post up there at 7:32? You got to read this. We're talking about Wawa's. It's just a restaurant. There's no gas except after you eat.
Nice.
Where else?
Can't wait to go.
So
Where else
hey, Tom Zabrowski's here.
can you go?
Thank you, Bob, again for your assistance with what is happening at Northeast Area FMCA. Always glad to help out, Tom. Hopefully it works out well for you. You would make an outstanding president of the United States. I would be an excellent president of the United States.
Hey, Zagami, I got seltzer water tonight. What are you drinking?
Jack Daniels. Like,
Look, he's got monogram glasses.
I do. Can you see that?
Yeah.
There's a Z. Yeah, there's a Z on there.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. I switched between that and my Jack Daniels glass.
Yeah.
Which is also monogrammed.
So you guys,
We've got monogram glasses too. Yeah.
Yeah.
we get so many people that watch our show. Some own an RV and some don't.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people that say, man, I'd love to own an RV. I'd love to see this country, but I'm afraid of pulling the trigger. What would you say to that couple or individual or married person, divorcee, whatever category they're in? What would you say to those?
For a part-time or a full-time or just doing a trip or?
Yes.
All of the above.
So many
All
places.
the above.
Well, just buying an RV. Do we really care how they're going to use it? If they've been thinking about it, they might want to do it. They might, whichever way they want to use it.
I think I would always say, and mind you, we didn't do this before we started, but having rented quite a few RVs now with these, I would say rent an RV first.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a
Smart.
great way to, we get people saying, I don't know whether to get a fifth wheel or a class A or whether to get a C or an A or a B, whatever. Just go and rent one. And even the friend that we bought the Navion from, he wanted to get a B, and he rented one for the weekend from the dealer he ended up buying from, and he realized he's too tall. He couldn't, it was not going to work. So that's how he ended up with the C. And he wouldn't have known that if he hadn't rented first. And I think that's a really good way to do it. We learned so much just renting those couple down in Florida and Texas a couple of years
even
ago.
after being full-timers.
For years, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would encourage people to do the RV, because I do agree that renting is a great step before making a large purchase of, it's just a nice step in that process. But, if you find that if you do buy one, it's hard to put a price on the experiences you can have with an RV. It's just such a different style of travel. It's so, people think, traveling, it's you fly, you go to a hotel. It's not the same kind of immersive experience you can have with an RV. There's really nothing like it. So
I think that's part of the, the success that we've had the last couple of years. I mean, John and I both traveled the last few weeks, and I used JetBlue as my number one airline. For the last 10 years. They just did everything perfect. And after the last 2 weeks on JetBlue, 3 times now, I just saw it twice again today. I saw people reference JetBlue in the same sentence as Spirit Airlines 3 times.
Wow.
3 times.
And we've been on both.
They really have to take a step back and get themselves reorganized again between canceled flights.
Right.
We were both sitting, we were in different trips and different airplanes, but you just shake your head and say, give me an RV any day of the week.
Oh my gosh, we would so prefer RV travel over air travel. I mean,
I don't like carrying my bags.
Speaking of cost, though, air travel's up 25% this year as well. So they're seeing big cost increases too. But yeah, the RV travel, you get to take way more with you as far as getting different change of clothes. I can have my entire wardrobe. No, but
I think people
both shirts.
Both shirts.
Did you get the impression in that 8,500 mile trip that people have adjusted to our COVID lifestyle, our pandemic lifestyle? They've accepted it, and most of the restrictions are gone now. But they've actually kind of accepted the inflation. They don't like it, but they understand that the RV is going to cost more money. Your gas is going to cost more money. Your campground is going to cost more money. Your rental RV is going to cost more money. We had Sherry, one of our members, Sherry Fuller, was at a show with me about a week and a half ago.
Yep.
And she is almost booked solid this year. For this year, if you wanted to rent this year, we joke about it. You want a campground, you got to make campground reservations for 23 and 24. She's almost booked out for all this year. In fact, she's had so much business that they have actually gone out and they're buying slightly used RVs from people who bought them and decided they didn't like the lifestyle. They're getting at an incredible price and adding them to the fleet because they have so much business.
Well,
but have you seen that in the people that you met in the campground around there? Nobody's sitting down and putting their head in their hands and crying about it. It's the life that we live. So if that's the conditions, we may as well have a good time doing it.
Well, and what COVID did, I'm sure the Bennetts would agree, is opened up RVing to groups of people that never would have considered it before.
Absolutely,
100%.
John. Absolutely, John. Because their families had the ability to work remotely. The parents could work remotely. The kids were doing homeschooling. So it opened up huge opportunities for extended RV travel. And then a lot of that has continued on. And so these people enjoyed that freedom.
You know, and all the naysayers in the summer of 2020, when we're 3 months into COVID and RVs are flying off the lots, the naysayers said, don't worry about buying an RV. You'll be able to buy one next year from all these people that will buy it and not like it and be available.
Guess what? They like it. Yeah.
Population.
Let me run down a couple of things here. Estelle has been to Seacoast Rv. Said Bob had to stop there last year for a part, and they were great. They are great dealership. Tom likes that. Jim Roy says, "Whoops, what'd I do? Where'd I go, Jim? You're almost old enough to be POTUS. Almost. I think I'm older than POTUS. Aren't I? How old is he?
78.
Huh?
78.
Well, I'm 78. But I'm a much more alert and brilliant 78. Well, we shouldn't get into politics.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, look at this. We got a double header. Chris Andros back. But he just had a fantastic 50th birthday for his girlfriend and saw the posting. Chris, congratulations. Looks like you pulled off a really big surprise there. So doesn't surprise me. Glad to have you back. Tell us how your business is these days and what you're seeing out there, Chris. And Mr. Horkey is on. Agreed. Buying a new Cougar travel trailer or fifth wheel from Hemlock is the way to go.
Is he from Hemlock?
Hemlock Hill RV. Chris was the chairman of RVDA last year. Mike Pearson from Minnesota is the chairman this year, but Chris is the past chairman of RVDA. And we're going back to Las Vegas in November for that conference.
I was wearing my Keystone hat today when I picked up my Winnebago, believe it or not.
There you go. Our roving reporter has checked in. Michael DePietro says, RV travel is best. There are so many types of freedom versus air, hotel, and restaurants. But I don't know, Michael. You didn't have that sentiment when you were driving back from Florida with your brother last week. And, you had a little different view of it, but maybe that was just because you were sitting next to John.
Yeah, for 3 straight days.
Yeah.
All
right. Frank says,
John's point.
unless you started with a tent or pop-up already, by then you likely have enough experience to know what you need or want. That's a good point.
I think a lot of people think renting's expensive, and I think you can definitely get sticker shock.
Especially if you drive far. Because a lot of them have mileage.
Well, it's expensive, but think of it this way: do you want to go spend $100,000 for a motorhome,
and not like
you want to spend $2,000, and then
exactly
and realize that's not the one, or do you spend $2,000, have a great vacation, and then decide, hey, I love this lifestyle, and I'm going to jump it. Well,
I think a lot of people don't necessarily look at the total cost of RV ownership because you go to the RV shows and you see the stickers on the side saying you can have this for $238 a month. And they go, oh, look, honey, this is cheap, $238 a month. But really, what are you paying? What's the terms? Insurance, storage if you're not full-timing in it, registration, the taxes when you buy it in most states. So maintenance and repairs, just got to do the math, really.
Right. You know what? I had a circumstance today that I found out the details of it today. I had a friend from college who's in the high finance banking business said, hey, my former coworker is thinking of buying an RV. Can you call him up? And I could tell just the way he was asking the question. He said, I don't know whether I should buy a Sprinter or should buy one with a truck on, truck. So I knew he needed to go back to the basics. So he had been looking around and I said, well, why are you looking around? He said, look, I'm 71 years old. I'm just getting over cancer and I'm just getting over being married. So he was coming off chemo and getting a divorce all at the same time. And he said, I just need to if I stay here in Washington, D.C., I'll go crazy. So he said, I've watched enough people that I know get an RV. And he said, everybody that I've talked to, and this guy is a finance guy, so he's very, what do you call it, orderly in what he does. And he said, I've talked to 40 or 50 people. Not one of them have said, I regret doing it. In fact, he said, most of them said, I wish I had done it sooner. He said, hey, maybe I'd still be married. But, we're finding more and more people that are looking into RVing because of what COVID did, exposing it, making it mainstream. And you know what? COVID wasn't it. I mean, look at, for anybody who had medical issues or deaths in the family, certainly that's tragic. But it also made people aware of different lifestyles and the fact that they don't have to. Look at this guy in Washington. When my brother and I were driving back last week from Florida, we were 41 miles. We were in Fredericksburg, Maryland, 41 miles away from Washington, D.C. in the morning rush hour, and it was already backed up. 41 miles. So now those people don't have to do it. They can be more productive at work.
Happier.
Better quality time with your family, and it's the quarantine machine, as we often call them, because you can contain your environment. You have your own cooking, your own meals, which also gives you ways to control your spend as well. So many benefits.
But I think a lot of people, it's not a be all and end all. You don't necessarily have to sell everything and go and do that. And I think a lot of people aren't comfortable with that idea. And some people say, well, I'm ready for a change and I want to leave, or I'm downsizing, or I'm empty nester now, or I'm post-illness or post-divorce, or a combination like this gentleman you just talked about. So tomorrow's promised to no one. You don't want to spend your life having regrets that you never did it. And I think that the fear for a lot of people is feeling like it's a permanent decision. And something I learned from a great boss once years ago when I worked in an ad agency was, he'd say, Jules, he said, the most important thing you do is you make a decision. Even if it's the wrong decision, then you just make another decision. And I'm like,
you get to do it all over again. Let me throw something out here that I've noticed the last month or so. The forums are good, and the chats and the Facebook and what have you. And lots of times the negative comments outweigh the positive comments, because the people who are positive, they love it and they just go about their business. So
exactly.
A lot of negative people because they don't understand the business, they don't understand the product. But what I have noticed in the Alliance RV forum, the Grand Design forum, some of the Winnebago forums, when people start to complain now, and Kevin and Chris, this is for you guys, and I see Tim's on here too. Let me know if you're detecting something like this. They're not being attacked, but there are consumers now who are stepping up to the plate saying, what are you, crazy? They're made by hand. You're driving them down the road. They're going to have problems. You get yourself a good dealer and they get fixed, and they're putting it in the right context. And I think one of the things our industry hasn't done is to survey all the people, because yes, they're made by hand. Yes, there are issues. Yes, they're going to leak, but those things are all correctable. Those are not deal killers to enjoy the lifestyle. And this last month, I've seen a tremendous rush of people to jump on the ones that are quick to complain about it because they don't understand the lifestyle, they don't understand the RVs and what have you. Did you have any kind of conversations like that at various campgrounds that you were going? Because you must have run into a lot of people who are those COVID buyers, those first-time buyers that are out there for the first time wondering what the hell they did and what they're supposed to do.
I think for the most part, the people that we've met and run into are just loving it and are so happy that they've done it. And I don't know, maybe we just attract those kind of people because we don't really tolerate negative energy so much. And like you said, Bob, people online are usually the ones that are complaining, and it's very easy to find other people to jump onto that. But most of the ones that are out there having a good time are not wanting to spend time in that environment, in that energy. But I think most of the people we met are just like so happy. There was some people that we met at the show. We got at the Tampa show. So we were at various, Marc's just going to let the dog out because he's scratching. But
Chris has validated that he's seeing the same thing. And
that's good.
I think so. And I bet Tim's RV is up on the Mohawk Trail. He says, Ryan Hadley, work is good for you for a while. Keep building a future. That's what Ryan's doing. That's what I love about what Ryan's doing. He's young. He's got 4 kids, wonderful family, and he's out there every morning, early in the morning, doing service, responding to those calls. And he works with a lot of our dealers. I know he works with Tim and some of our other dealers. When they get stuck, they can call Ryan, and Ryan will get out on the road and take care of those people.
Well, we need more like that.
He's a rock star. Let me tell you, you know,
no, that's great.
he does know what he's doing.
So do you want to show us your dog?
Sure.
His name is Sonny. He's almost 11. Next week, he'll be 11 months old. We got him 4 days after, or 3 days after we caught up with you last time.
I'd show you mine, but they're both asleep on my lap. They don't take any interest in my business events.
What is he, a golden doodle?
Mini golden doodle. Yep. He's about 31 pounds. And
He just got a haircut a couple days ago.
He looks like a little teddy bear.
Well, he's got a different color scheme on him, huh?
He's getting lighter. Hello, honey. I know. Oh, yes.
He knows where he was going to go.
No.
For
Just out of curiosity, let's ask our audience just to type in, do you travel with a dog? Yes or no? And let's see what we can get out of that. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, do you travel with a dog? You can just type in yes or no, because we see all these statistics about 50 to 55% of RVers travel with a pet.
Well, and honestly, that was a big reason why Julie and I hit the road in an RV at the very beginning, was because of our dog that we had at the time. We wanted to travel. We wanted to go see the country. We wanted to make the most limited time off from work. And
we couldn't fly with her.
We wanted to spend the time with the dog. And when you travel with an RV, you get to have them with you all the time. So,
yeah, Don brings up a point here, a little bit off the subject there, but he says he does work with the NRVTA down in Texas. There, he's seeing sons that are following in their father's footsteps. Dad came to NRVTA, became a technician. Now the sons are going into the business. So I think the message is getting out that it is a career that you can enjoy. That's when I flew back to Boston a couple of weeks ago. I worked with our RVTI, and we displayed at the Massachusetts School Counselors Association, and they've got a program going nationwide where they're exhibiting RVTI as a recruitment tool and as a career trade, because people, when they think of trades, they think of carpenters, plumbers, and electricians, and the response from the school counselors around the country is absolutely fantastic. And the side benefit, and Sherry brought a motorhome down, side benefit is you get a half a dozen that have never seen an RV before, and they say, can I rent this, or can I buy this, and do it that way? Yeah, it's great. And Dante's
there's
going.
a big demand for that right now, for sure.
Dante's going to his motorhome and going to head to Texas in May. In fact, I just did my interview this morning for the Camper Report Show this week, and Todd Henson, who's the director of education at NRVTA. He is my guest on the Camper Report Show that'll be out this Friday. It's a great interview explaining the programs and the like. Okay, Maria's got the biggest having an RV is being able to always travel with your dog.
Yeah. Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to Tom Zabrowski says yes. Don and Pat Hawes. Maria Galante says we travel with 2. Frank Kate says no dog. I leave the cat home. Sean Blackwell says we travel with our chocolate lab. Maria says the biggest perk of having an RV is being able to always travel with your pet.
Yep.
Okay.
And Don used to have a dog, and will again after they get back to New England. Estelle takes the cat.
The cat loves the camper.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was one of the things that somebody wants to be part of.
Is that your dog or mine? That's not my dog.
No, it's our dog.
He's
very chatty. But that where you are, that campground behind you, Bob, in that image.
Oh my gosh!
That was actually
3 dog parks.
Ooh.
3 dogs. Hey, tell us about that, because that's Margaritaville and
Camp Margaritaville and Auburndale. So there are 3.
And I know our friend Sandy Ellingson is doing some work with them. But what I found impressive, and I haven't been there, I'll probably stop on the way home. But
Sandy's been on my case for months. Come and check it out.
What's that?
Sandy was on my case for months to come and check it out, and then we
Yeah.
didn't even know if we were coming to Florida. And then
Well,
finally we got.
and
She was
you
there
wrote
in
it.
January. We said, "Well,
You wrote an impressive review of it, but they're planning.
honestly, it's hard to find anything to be critical about that place."
But they're planning to build 30 to 50 more RV resorts, and they're not cheap, right? They're not cheap. Give us your first person report on Margaritaville.
One quick comment on the dog thing, probably Julie was going to say,
Yeah.
was that when we were talking to them, they ask you if you're bringing a dog when you're doing your reservation. And they said in the books for the coming months, they had a couple thousand dogs coming. So
they have
clearly
way
there's
more
a
dogs
lot
than
of-
kids.
Clearly a lot of people are traveling with their dogs. But yeah, then I'll let Julie speak to the experience.
I think they get is it 2,000 dogs a week? Did they
No,
say?
it wasn't that.
Wasn't it? Anyway, I don't remember the number, but it was a
They
lot.
leave the kids at the kennel.
What's that?
They'll leave the kids at the kennel.
more dogs than kids, but they.
They're gonna babysit.
Did you get a chance to meet Jimmy Buffett at the Tiki Bar?
No, he wasn't
No,
there.
not
Hopefully
staying.
one day. But it is the Tiki Bar is like the center of the whole resort where it's open. I don't know what time they open, probably 11 o'clock in the morning or 10 or whatever. And
5
then,
o'clock somewhere.
yeah, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere. And it's what's so great about it. And when we go to RV parks and campgrounds, honestly, we very rarely utilize or participate in the activities going on there, and often don't even use the amenities, because we'll be there to stay and have, water and electric, and then we go off exploring. But that was a place where we just, aside from biking, there's a really great bike trail. It goes for over 20 miles outside of the park, but there's just so much to do right there. And if you're a social person and you want to go hang out with people, you could be there as a solo RVer and go and hang out at the Tiki Bar or around the community fire pits they have, and you'll just make new friends. It's very easy for that. But then if you want to just do your own thing, you
And
can
tough
full of
question.
everything. We were very impressed. I don't know what it cost, millions, but it's beautiful.
And you
They
said
were-
they were up over $200 a night.
The fancy sites at the front that are the waterfront, but the regular sites, what do we pay? It was like 80
80,
something
they're
a
in,
night,
they're in,
because
yeah,
it's like,
they're in the 80s.
yeah,
Okay.
so it's like pay for 6 nights, get 7 free, which is pretty typical at a lot of parks.
Yeah.
And there's a discount code that
Yeah,
they
but
said
the
we could
level of
share with
amenities-
So
Here's a qualifying question for you, though.
yeah,
Do they have Jack Daniels at the Tiki Bar?
I didn't check because we don't drink it, but I'm sure they do. And if they
You
don't,
wouldn't, just by nature, you wouldn't say, I want to check and see if they have Jack Daniels in case Bob ever comes down here. That never costs you anything.
we better get him dialed in. I'll make
Yeah.
sure to send a message to our friend who
But
has
yeah,
a friend there.
but to the point on the value, like the level of amenities in that 80 is, I think, makes it value. So
Very
sometimes
clean.
you'll see high rates and there's very little to show for it, but sometimes you see low rates and.
I thought for what they're not the cheapest RV park, but they're definitely not even close to the most expensive.
Well, I think that they've caught on to the fact that there's such a wide demographic of campers, everything from a tent to
Yeah.
a pop-up to a $2.5 million Prevost conversion. They're going to fill. I'm convinced right now that anything this industry built, anything the campground outdoor hospitality industry builds right now is going to get filled up.
Yeah.
It's going to get filled up. And I applaud them for, getting a good price for the value that they have, because you can go down the street and pay, where they're, in Orlando or around here, they're getting $400, $500, $600 a night for a hotel. For what?
That's crazy,
Oh,
isn't it?
that's cheap.
Yeah.
We thought Florida, that was $700-800 a night in February.
In the Keys? Or
No, in Palm Springs and Fort Lauderdale. Absolutely.
When John and I went to the Winnebago National Dealer Meeting last month, or
In March.
last month in Savannah, Georgia.
Yep.
They were getting $600. The same room that we were in the next day was going to be $6 or $7. Now, granted, it was St. Patrick's Day, but guess what? All you're going to do there is drink outside anyways. And the Fairfield Inn was $350 a night. What, John?
We were in separate rooms, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we were. I had the luxury suite on the top floor, and John
I had the
was
laundry.
the 5th floor next to
By the laundry.
between the laundry room and the elevator.
Hey, we're overtime
We've got a lot
already.
of RV sites,
What?
like
We're
200
overtime.
to 300 a night in the Keys.
Wow. I can't believe it's 8 o'clock. What did we, let me see if we missed anybody here. I think we're gonna have to extend this show to 2 hours, John.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we got everybody over there. Wow. Hey, you guys got to come back more often. You had good chatter here, and great to see you. And congratulations on the new RV, and off to your next adventure, huh?
Yeah, we'll keep you posted. Sometimes we don't really know what they are; they just pop up by surprise.
That's the good part. But that's the great part of RVing.
That's what we love about it.
Is that if there's an event going on, you say, "Come on, Julie, let's go." And
before we say goodnight, let me just jump right back in here for our sponsor, Seacoast Rv, creating family fun on Route 1 in Saco, Maine. #1 crop park model dealer in the country, the newest Winnebago motorized dealer in the state of Maine, and soon to receive their very first elevation. Let me just check my email real quick because I just sent him a note to see if they had it, and I don't have an answer yet. So we don't have an answer on it, but the elevation
RV
coming soon.
Place to be.
See, oh, hey, that's another good tagline for him. All right. We will see everybody next week. Julie and Mark, great to see you. Great to see you.
Fun catching up with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you everybody for joining us, and we will see you down the road.
Looking
Great
forward
day,
to it.
everybody.
Safe travels, everyone.
Take care, Bob and John.
This edition of RVing in New England was a presentation of the New England RV Dealers Association. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.